Spencer Su here, your tech realtor of the Bay Area, and I am going to cover another Tuesday tip for my weekly series. This time around, I wanted to go over some of the questions that I get related to how do you decide and what is the thought process of choosing a real estate agent. So this is a very important question and is a very important process for you to decide who is the right person to help you with arguably one of the largest investments that you will ever make. And so common questions that I get is, and the common mistakes that I see is just simply using a family member or a friend. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use a friend or a family given the trust aspect, but you also just want to make sure that they're very active in the real estate industry. So if they're very active and they're top producing and they really know the market, then by all means, it's best then to work with that friend or family member. But if they just got their license or they just do it occasionally, quote unquote, part-time, it's very risky in several different reasons. Number one, how familiar are they with the current landscape in terms of prices, the competitive landscape? Unless you're doing this every day, there's no way you're going to be able to know those granular details. So that's number one. Number two is related to the disclosures aspect. Like how much of an experience do they have understanding like things to be aware of and potential costs related to it. Everything can be fixed, but everything will have a cost and time associated with it. So is it worth, especially here in the Bay Area, to jeopardize that? That is your personal decision to make, and it can be very material. A good agent can easily make it swing about 5% of what it could be. And 5% in the Bay Area, let's say is an average $1 million home, could be $50,000. So it's very significant in terms of the value of that particular agent. So there's nothing, just when you choose, or if you have a friend that does it or a family does it, just look them up. It's very simple. There's a lot of public sites. Simply look up on Realtor.com, Zillow.com. Look at not just the reviews that they have, so you can see how people think of them, but also just look at the previous transactions. Very easy. If you can't find it, ask them. Say, hey, look, I tried to look you up, but I didn't see any information. What's going on? And let's see how they reply, because that's actually a direct feed from the MLS. So if there's no transactions there, unless everything is done behind the scenes, it's probably not a good thing. It just means they're not that active. So just something to be aware of when you go through the journey. Number two, I get this quite a bit, especially since I am younger than most. However, younger does not mean I am not as experienced. So I get this all the time. These realtors, they've worked in the industry for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, second generation. Who cares? Like it doesn't matter. Here's a way of looking at it. It doesn't matter if they're not producing every year and at an increasing level. If you think about this business of real estate, every year should be a better year over the previous. Because number one, hopefully out of those previous transactions, you get some referrals out of it, so it's a little bit easier, and you also get more recognition from your network. So technically every year you should see some increases, some will be a big jump, but you shouldn't see sporadic here and there. That means part of it, they were just doing it part-time. They weren't really active and producing throughout that entire period. And here's an example that I love to get, because I play tennis and I play golf myself. So let's say you're talking about someone that plays tennis, and somebody says, I've been playing tennis for 20 years. Well, would you be scared of playing somebody that played tennis for 20 years, even though they played, let's say, once a year? Or would you be more afraid to play against somebody that has played tennis for 1 or 2 years, but they play every month? So it's very important to understand it's the same idea, because there's a lot of momentum in this business of not just knowledge, insights, the procedures, the tech tools that are continuing to evolve. There's a lot of other things that are from a momentum period. And arguably, if you do it, if it's once a year or very few a year, there's no momentum. You're just almost starting from scratch. So I would argue those people that have done it for that long that are not producing that much, it's even more of a red flag than anything else, because you should question them. Why are you not doing more business? Well, you spent 20 years and you're doing this amount of business. So something just to really understand that years does not mean skill. Skill means production volumes. And back to how you verify that, simply going to Realtor.com, Zillow.com, that is how you simply see it, because that's all exposed. And for my case, I want to share that because it's clear that I'm very proud of my production levels, given where I'm at. And so that's something just to be aware of. The other thing is related to teams versus the individual agent. So you want to be very careful. Many of the teams, they have a rock star at the top, and they're top producers, very skilled, very, very good. Many of them are incredible. However, you have to be careful. Are they the ones that will personally help you along the process and the journey? And many times it's not. Many times it's outsourced in a sense or delegated to a much junior person that does very little or only one aspect of the transaction. So you also want to determine, is that a better fit for you? Do I want to be part of this high producing team? But in reality, if you look at the background, the individuals, they don't produce that much. Or do you want to work with somebody that's a solo agent, that everything is done via that person and you're going to be taken care of the whole way? So something also to be very careful of and ask specifically, well, if I'm going to be going with this top producing team that does X amount a year, am I working with you the entire way? If they say no, then ask, who am I working with? And what is their skill level? And ask the same questions for them. And then you'll see there's a little bit of, there may be challenges at that time. And it's just every nature of any business or any, especially real estate, of scaling up. But for you as an individual, it's something for you to be wary of because it's, at the end of the day, it's your money, it's your investment. So that's another aspect. Those are the main things that I want to cover in terms of how you should determine who is the right agent for yourself. As I mentioned, you want to look at their history, and it's all publicly available on Zillow, Realtor.com. You can see not just of the previous listings, but you can also look at what are the reviews? What are they saying? Are they just generic? Oh, they've been great, very friendly, or is it very detailed of, okay, well, I can see myself relate to that realtor because I can see myself relate to that consumer that had that kind of experience. So one example, I had a client that got introduced to me and they read my reviews. And they said, wow, it's a lot of it is about very analytics, about spreadsheets. I'm like, oh, that's great that you noticed, because yeah, that's a standard process of what I do. And now everybody will be able to see, hey, look, what should I be expecting to pay for this particular home without even going to go see it? So those are some examples of, does it relate to your personality? There's many realtors out there because, quite frankly, it's very easy to get a license. Just like it's very easy in a sense to get a high school degree or a college degree, but it doesn't mean that they're good. So just be very careful as you go through the journey. It can make and break a deal, but it can also be a very painful experience. But also, as I mentioned, there can easily be a swing of 5% at the very least. It could be significantly more. So you want to be really careful of this, even though there's aspects of friends that are involved, aspects of even worse, family. The other thing to consider is, what if it doesn't go well? So many times family and close friends doesn't work, especially if they're not skilled, because it has a pretty high probability that's not going to go well, and that will damage that altogether. So as I mentioned, I hope those tips are helpful for yourself, whether you're looking here in the Bay Area. I would love to help you on your journey, or if you're looking anywhere. I have a lot of great resources because I ask these same exact questions for my referral partners all across the US. So I do my due diligence because it's a reflection of myself. And I want to know, like, hey, look, I'm referring a client that I know will be taken care of. But if you're in a different area, obviously you can reach out to me. I'm happy to give those intros, or you should be asking those same questions and then feeling who you're most comfortable with, but also you feel like you can trust. Because this is one other aspect that I get. There is more information than ever before online, and it will continue to be that way. The consumerization of real estate will continue to progress. However, if you think about it, sure, there's going to be a lot of articles you can read, there can be a lot of books, a lot of podcasts, a lot of forums. If you think about this, there's no way an individual will be able to know as much as someone that does it full-time, day in and day out. And so there's an aspect, just like a lot of other professions. I don't try to research all I can and then now I can start making diagnoses and be a doctor. I don't try to research and watch a bunch of CSI drama to be able to know I could be a lawyer. It's a similar idea. I mean, it's very helpful to know it, but at the same time, you have to also understand, like, a realtor, a good realtor is someone that you need to trust, but you should ask those right questions and then rely on them moving forward. And, feel free to bring any concerns that you have. What's the economy like? What's the data like? What's this headline article that I've read? What is this little nugget about foreclosures? I mean, you can ask all those questions, but you also have to understand that regardless of how much you read, you also don't have the day-to-day aspects of it, of the negotiation, and just the business aspect of it. So it's just something to be aware of as I come across clients. There's no right or wrong. Like I said, different clients have different levels of trust and insecurities, and I totally get that, given that many realtors may not be up to par, but those at least would be some of my tips of how you should vet whichever realtor that you use. Other than that, please check into, I have a couple of different episodes coming in this week. When this gets released the next day, tomorrow, so on Wednesday, we have a great interview with the teams or the individuals out of Palm Beach, Florida, along with sunny San Diego. So that'll be on Wednesday, 12 o'clock Pacific. Tune in on Facebook or YouTube. And then on Friday, I'll have another market update, see what's relevant of the news and different insight that I can bring related to that. Other than that, have a great week, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.
Hey YouTube world, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad that you dropped by. If you liked this video, please be sure to smash this subscribe button here. And if you want to see one of my latest videos, please choose this one here. Bye now.